They don't talk about the fact that these insurance companies at will used to deny, right? To the point where they had computer generated programs to deny you left and right, right? Because it saved them at the end of the year billions of dollars. So most people, when they talk about the Affordable Care Act, and follow me, right? When most people talk about it, when they call it Obamacare, cool, whatever, call it Obamacare, shout out to Obama. But they talk about it in terms of, policy, mandates, premiums. They never break it down how life-saving Affordable Care Act and how many lives have it saved in that exam room, right? I want people to kind of walk with me, right? And I've done several episodes around the Affordable Care Act plan, but like I think when it's not driven home, right? And I understand I'm probably gonna have to do more and more of these episodes, especially with politics playing such a role in our healthcare that they're deciding whether they should allow premiums to double or triple in some places, right? Like that is the role politics are playing. So I want to make sure that it's not looked at as the boogie guy, right? Like Candyman, right? We want to make sure when you think about Affordable Care Act plan, you could probably put a name to the face and say, hey, this thing has saved this person's life, and I should be much more go-ho about it than whether my premiums double or triple because the state I live in is playing these political games, right? So let's talk today about the Affordable Care Act. Let's talk about it from the patient's perspective, because I think no one ever wants to talk about it from the actual patient's perspective. They always want to talk from their desk in DC. They always want to talk about it on news, but no, there are patients who every day have to experience what life is like with the Affordable Care Act plan. And I don't know if they can even imagine what it's like if the Affordable Care Act plan wasn't even there. I want to kind of walk us through this journey as the patient, right? Today's episode is about the patient. Well, all episodes about the patient, but this one specifically is about the patient, right? Let's walk through the patient's eyes of let's call him Barry, right? Easy, right? Barry, he works a 9 to 5, takes care of his family, but he has to get his health together. He just knows he has to get his health together because he's the one who's got to take care of the family. He's got multiple mouths he has to take care of. He's got an older parent he's got to take care of. He's got plenty of people he has to take care of. So he's going through the motions of saying, hey, what can I do, right, to make sure I'm around, and when I'm around, I can work, I can provide. What can I do to make sure that happens? Well, I got to get my health in order. I got to get my health in order. So for Barry, this is more of a survival, right, than like just like a vacation. Like, not like I want to, go get my, my colonoscopy or my like, it's not like I want to get these things done, but I know for the survival of my family and my loved ones, I got to do it. So I'm gonna just do it, right? A lot of people are like that. Hey, I don't really want to do these things, but I know I got people who I got to take care of, so I'm going to do these things, right? So shout out to them. Take care of others, right? So for them, it's a survival, right? This is a survival mission. And they say, you know what? Let me go check up. Let me go see what the doctor's telling me, right? And you have the barrier, right? You have this barrier, right? This is before the Affordable Care Act plan was even around, right? You have this barrier that say, hey, you know what? If Barry has a pre-existing condition, he can't come see me. If Barry has, has for some reason, right, has had his care denied at other places, right? Guess what? I'm not approving it either, right? Like, so there were barriers that were in the way that would have allowed Barry to say, hey, you know what? I got to take care of my family, right? Like he had some pre-existing condition, or he had some health insurance, but one insurer denied this procedure, so no one's allowing this procedure to go down, right? Like this is what was happening. So Barry is now faced with this invincible bully that was insurance care prior to the Affordable Care Act plan that's not allowing him to be the most healthiest that he can be. Right? That was just the truth. So he goes to doctor. He's trying to doctor shop. He's trying to find a way to make sure he can survive for his family, and it's just dead end after dead end. And then when we think about it, it wasn't that like Barry wasn't trying, right? Like now there's access related concerns, right? Like I see what I need to do, right? I see the procedure I need to get done. I see the testing I need to get done. I've heard the medication that they says if I take this, I'm going to be around for a lot longer. But this bully of an insurance company is not going to allow me to get to it, right? The finances are not going to allow me to get to it. Care Act plan, guess what? All of those big bullies that were there, they're not there no more, right? Barry's able to get that medication, right? He's able to sign up for that insurance plan to go see, a Dr. Pierre, right? Who's going to take great care of him and make sure he's around for 20, 30 more years, right? Like he's able to do that because the bully isn't around anymore. But quite often when I hear us conversations about the Affordable Care Act, one is always in this negative connotation on Obamacare, right? They, as if for some reason attaching something to President Obama is like a negative thing. Different conversation. They don't talk about the fact that these insurance companies at will used to deny, right? To the point where they had computer generated programs to deny you left and right, right? Because it saved them at the end of the year billions of dollars. They had computer generated programs that would force doctors to have to call and be scheduled at a random time and talk to a person who wasn't even in that doctor's specialty why they were going to approve or deny a procedure that the doctor wanted, right? That is what was happening. Now, mind you, it still happens now, but definitely not to the degree that it was happening beforehand, right? Shout out to the Affordable Care Act plan. But I want us to walk through Barry's eyes. Like he wants to survive, right? He wants to provide. He wants to take care of his family, but he's having access issues that's not allowing him to do so. There's information blocking that's happening that's not allowing him to do so. There's medication that is just outside of his reach that they won't let him get to because in their eyes, they can't afford it. They can afford it, but they don't want to pay for it, right? This was the reality at hand. So when I talk about what ACA did, right, and I talk about it a lot, right, it eliminated so many of these barriers that now people who needed to go to see the doctor, their first thought in their mind wasn't, oh my God, I might become bankrupt if this doctor tells me the wrong diagnosis and there's the wrong procedure. Guess what? I might not even be able to keep getting my medications because I might hit this magical cap that the insurance company says, hey, we're not paying for anything anymore. You got cancer, like the rest of it is on you, right? You're pregnant, the rest of these bills are on you. You have high blood pressure, the rest of these bills are on you. You've hit your cap, right? This again, and sometimes and the reason why I always like to break it down as simple as possible, especially when we talk about Affordable Care Plan, because I don't need you I don't want you to have to go, let me go read what the Affordable and then read, like it's a lot. I'm going to explain to you from the physician, from the patient's point of view, what the Affordable Care Act plan means. And I don't care if they call it Obamacare. It's not a negative thing. It saved millions of lives. Millions of lives. And not just people, because some maybe say, oh, if you're older. No. There's kids getting kicked off insurance plans because they happen to turn 18, right? Like, oh, you're 18? Get off that insurance plan. I don't care if it's your parents' insurance plans. I don't care if they can still afford to pay it. Get off of it, right? Because we want to save some money, right? Like, because at the end of the day, these insurance companies, these policymakers, they're all driven by the dollar bill, unfortunately, right? They'll tell you that it's the physicians that are running up the bills in healthcare and running up the spending in healthcare, but it's always been about the top looking down. And patients are at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to healthcare. Doctors, nurses, like my therapists, my RTs, physician, physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, dietitians. We're all down here too, right? The biggest pie goes to these organizations, these businesses, these hospitals, these corporations, these politicians, everyone else, these insurance companies, everyone else is making money hands over fist because they've calculated that it is cheaper to let you die. Think about that. They have calculated that it's cheaper to let you die than to keep paying for that prescription. It is cheaper to let you die than to authorize that, imaging that you may have done, right? The reason why I think that is such an important conversation, these are such important conversations to have, right? Like we saw the out we saw the backlash that occurred, right? When I believe it was the CEO of United, right, was murdered, right, by that guy, right? We saw the backlash, right? There's two sides, right? There are some people saying, "Oh my God, why would someone murder someone in that stature?" Right? You had that side, and then you had a lot of people, right? Again, I didn't agree with them, but you had a lot of people who are like, "Okay, so that organization that's responsible for denying my mom, my grandma, my grands, like that organization, you talking about the organization that makes billions of dollars every single quarter, you want me to feel bad for that CEO?" Right? Like you had a lot of people. In fact, you still got whenever I think the guy is Luigi, I think maybe Luigi. Like whenever like I see this guy on TV, check the comment section of articles that are talking about him. There are gonna be a lot of people who are like, "Oh, go Luigi, go!" Like there are gonna be wild to me, but there are gonna be a lot of people like that, right? Because they understand the anger that they feel because when their loved ones were in a situation or in a position that could have been saved by the Uniteds of the world, United said, "Nope, our bottom dollar is more important." So they can't extend the sympathy to the CEO who is gunned down because they remember when their family member was in a position and someone in United's position said, "Hey, I'm not going to approve that medication. I'm not going to approve that diagnostic imaging. I'm not going to approve these things because it saves us money." Right? That's all they heard. That's all they heard. Right? So when I hear these politicians get on TV, right, and talk about, "Oh, we just need to let it go. Like, we just need to let it go. We'll give them money to put in a health savings account and make them like they know that that's not going to happen." And you know what they also know? They know that, hey, you know what? We are going to save money because instead of giving this discounts, right, so that you don't have to pay as much on your premium, if we just give them a little bit of money here, we're going to save money. And guess what? The insurance company is like, "All right, like you can give them that money. And because it's a health savings account, they got to spend it with us anyway. So eventually we'll get some of that money back." So for there, like, all right, I'm going to have less people that I got to cover, less people that I have to pay. Right. So the insurance companies and the politicians are like, "Yeah, go ahead. Like, let it go." Right. And as physicians, we have, especially when we're on the front line. Again, I take care of patients in a hospital setting, in a skilled nursing facility setting. We're not even talking about the fact that a lot of the Affordable Care Act plan helps pay for these long-term care facilities, right? Where your parents may end up living when they get too old to take care of themselves, and they can't stay with you, right? So you put them in a nursing home. Guess what? Also is funded by the Affordable Care Act plan, right? So, and I'm already hearing conversations about, hey, you know what? If this goes down the way it's looking like it's going down, we are going to take less people. And guess what? We may also have to kick out some people. So not only are they going to take less people in their nursing homes who may be on Medicaid, and that's the only way they can pay for these nursing homes, but they may kick out some of these ones if they're not getting there. Because again, business is a business. If they don't think their finances is together, they're kicking y'all out too, right? So this is one of those things where we should not be sugarcoating the conversation, right? Affordable Care Act is the Patients Care Act. It is for the patients. And yes, doctors benefit, hospitals benefit because someone's insured now. Yes, those things happen. But at the end of the day, think about that one patient who is just just getting into the healthcare system because they want to survive. They want to be able to take care of their family. And you have these entities and these structures, whether it be politics or not, that are okay if they can't do that. If you, right, you, the person watching or listening to this, if you are not okay with a possibility that, guess what, someone may not be able to have a place to put their parents for nursing homes because guess what, they're not taking Medicaid because Medicaid rates have dropped and affordable. Like if someone said, hey, you know what, if my insurance premium doubles, I'm not getting that insurance. Like this is the reality that's happening. If you're okay with that, yeah, right, I feel bad for you. But if you're not okay, right, if you understand that, like, hey, we need to be at the forefront of these conversations because guess what, when these conversations happen, right, when these things occur, like I got to make sure that I don't get the short end of the stick in the future. You have to be able to, get online, speak up, talk to your doctors, talk to your local representatives, your national representatives, say, hey man, I don't know what y'all are doing right now, but y'all need to get it together when it comes to this Affordable Care Act plan, right? This is some big wig thing that is made to, and that's what I hate. It's they've made it seem like this is something that benefits the insurance companies. Oh my God, the insurance companies are making money hands and fists. No. It's benefiting the patients. It's here, and it's always been here to benefit the patients and protect them from the scrupulous practices of these insurance companies that have been around, for years, for decades, and their main goal is how do we make the most money, and how do we pay out the least amount of money, right? Like that's always been their goal. How do I make the most money? How do I get more people paying us and make us have to pay out less? That's their goal. That's their thing. And a lot of them, like the Uniteds of the world, are making billions of dollars every 4 months, every 3 months. Every 3 months, they're making billions of dollars, right? So we don't have to feel bad for them. They will be okay. Trust me, they will be okay. My goal is to make sure that the Barrys of the world, right, who want to take care of their families, are also okay, right? So, yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, and I'm gonna see you guys next week.